I mean, imagine trying to sell shovels when absolutely nobody is digging.
Right. It's impossible.
It's impossible. And that is essentially the reality of the current housing market right now. If you look at the landscape, weather issues, and these just stubbornly high interest rates made the first quarter of the year incredibly slow.
Yeah, totally frozen.
Exactly. And agent sentiment, the general mood and optimism of real estate professionals out there hustling is just really poor. People just aren't moving. Yet, the real estate platform we are analyzing today is out there projecting like mid-teens revenue growth.
Which, I mean, that sounds completely counterintuitive, right?
Seriously.
If the broader market is totally stalled out, the revenue of the major platforms facilitating that market should theoretically be stalled right alongside it.
Well, so for this deep dive, we're pulling apart a stack of Q&A transcripts from a recent financial update from a major real estate platform. We really want to understand this exact, growth in a frozen market playbook.
Because it's a fascinating playbook.
It is. Honestly, the best analogy for the housing market right now is a frozen lake. To a casual observer standing on the shore, nothing is moving. It just looks like solid ice.
Just completely static.
Right, but if you look underneath that ice, there are these massive currents flowing rapidly. There's an enormous hyperactive rental market and some incredibly fast-moving back-end tech just churning below the surface.
Yeah, the surface-level transaction volume for buying and selling homes is effectively flat. And the company isn't planning for those macroeconomic conditions to suddenly improve anytime soon.
They're just accepting the ice.
Exactly. They're accepting the ice. But below the surface, like you said, they are building an entirely interconnected ecosystem to capture the user at every single stage of their life.
So whether you are currently renting an apartment and trying to get your landlord to finally fix the sink, or dreaming of buying your first home, or you're just fascinated by brilliant business strategy, we are going to reveal how the mechanics of moving homes are fundamentally changing behind the scenes.
We're basically unpacking how they are leveraging renters, pre-market listings, and AI to build this end-to-end real estate machine.
Yeah, because when the traditional for-sale market freezes, you have to pivot to where the human activity actually is.
People still need places to live.
Right. And right now, that activity is heavily, heavily concentrated in the rental space. The numbers in these transcripts concerning their rental business are just staggering.
Oh, wow.
They saw a 27% growth in 2024, then they hit 39% growth in 2025, and now they are projecting another 30% growth in 2026.
Yeah, they're marching straight toward a $1 billion annualized revenue target.
$1 billion just from rentals.
Right. And the executives explicitly state in the transcripts that $1 billion isn't even the ultimate goal. I mean, they expect growth well beyond that figure.
Which is wild considering they already have 36 million unique visitors and boast the #1 brand preference in the space.
They're massive.
Yeah, and their strategy tackles this from two distinct sides. First, you've got multifamily units, which are your large apartment buildings, and then the single-family or long-tail rentals.
Right.
But reading through the multifamily stats, something really stood out to me. The sources note they are already in over 75,000 of the roughly 140,000 to 150,000 multifamily buildings that exist in the country.
Yeah, that's a huge market share.
They've literally captured half the board. So at a certain point, don't they just run out of big buildings to add? Is there a hard ceiling here?
Well, it definitely looks like a hard ceiling on paper. But the growth engine here isn't just about sticking a flag on a new building.
Okay, what is it then?
It's about convincing the property managers of the buildings they already have to spend more money with them.
Okay, wait, give me the mechanics of that. If I manage, say, a 300-unit building and I'm already on the platform, what am I actually paying more for?
You're paying for algorithmic priority. Yeah, property managers have a fixed marketing budget.
Yes.
Right. And they usually scattered across search engines, social media platforms, various apartment listing sites.
Sure, just trying to see what sticks.
Exactly. But this platform has 36 million unique visitors. It's consistently delivering the absolute highest return on investment.
Right, because the people there are actually looking to move.
100%. So when a property manager sees that the leads from this specific platform actually sign leases, they upgrade their package. They pay a premium so their open units show up at the absolute top of the feed for a user whose search criteria perfectly matches that building's amenities.
Oh, I see.
So the platform can squeeze massive revenue growth simply by proving their leads are better, without needing to acquire a single new building.
Okay, that makes total sense for the big corporate apartment complexes with dedicated marketing budgets. But what about the other side? Like the single-family homes or the duplexes managed by a guy with a spreadsheet?
Yeah, the transcripts refer to this as the long tail of the rental market.
The long tail.
Right. And this is their secondary engine. They are combining that massive multifamily inventory with single-family homes and smaller independent landlords. So ultimately, they're aggregating like 2.7 million rental listings.
That is a lot of houses.
It is. But to get those smaller landlords on board, they aren't just offering ad space. They're offering digital property management tools.
What?
Like software for background checks, rent collection, lease signing, all of that stuff.
Oh, so they are entirely replacing the landlord's messy spreadsheet.
Exactly. By becoming the actual operating system for the independent landlord, they basically lock that inventory onto their platform.
It creates a sticky ecosystem.
Totally. The landlord manages the property,
Yeah.
and the renter pays the rent, all in the exact same app.
Okay, but here's the flaw in just being a massive rental platform, right? Renters eventually leave, they outgrow the apartment, they get a new job, they start a family, and then they buy a house. If this company only dominates the rental phase of a person's life, they lose their absolute best, most engaged customers exactly when those customers are about to make the biggest financial transaction of their lives.
Yeah, that would be a huge leak in the funnel.
Right. So how do they stop that leak?
Well, the transcripts provide a crucial data point that acts as the bridge here. They note that 65% of renters also look at buying a home.
I mean, think about your own habits, right? If you are on an app looking for a new apartment lease, you've probably clicked over to the for sale tab just to see what a 3-bedroom house in the neighborhood goes for.
Oh, absolutely. Everyone does
You're
it.
window shopping, your
Yeah.
dream.
And the platform sees that behavior. The executives state very plainly in the update, if they deliver an exceptional experience on the rentals front, they essentially earned the right to win the for sale business when that renter eventually transitions into a buyer.
But once that renter decides to actually buy, the platform has a very specific strategy to grab their attention before anyone else does, right?
Yes, they do.
And this brings us to a product they call Zillow Preview. This feature basically takes pre-market inventory and puts it in front of the public from day one. And it doesn't just show up on their site, they're actually syndicating it out to appear on Realtor.com as well.
Yeah, and it launched just 2 months prior to this financial update. They started with only 5 partners, and it has already exploded to over 60 partners.
I mean, going from 5 to 60 partners in 2 months is a massive market signal.
It really is. It proves that brokers and agents are actively hunting for tools that generate early interest.
It's the Hollywood blockbuster model, honestly. They are treating a normal 3-bedroom ranch house like a movie trailer or like an exclusive sneaker drop.
That's a great way to put it.
They are manufacturing hype before the house is even officially available to buy. But, and I have to ask, is this just a flashy marketing gimmick to get users to open the app? Or does releasing a trailer for a house actually change the underlying economics of the sale?
Oh, it fundamentally changes the economics.
Really? How so?
The strategy hinges on a core philosophy repeated throughout the transcripts. Public markets are always better than private markets.
Okay, walk me through that. What is the private market doing that's so inefficient?
Well, historically, real estate has heavily utilized pocket listings.
Right, pocket listing.
Yeah, so a brokerage might get a great new house to sell, but before they list it publicly, they keep it private. They only share it with their own internal network of buyers.
Why?
The brokerage loves this because if they represent both the buyer and the seller, they keep the entire commission. They don't have to split it with an outside agent.
Oh, wow. But the seller gets completely shortchanged in that scenario.
Inherently. Less competition means lower offers. I mean, the vast majority of sellers want to sell their home for the most money in the fastest time possible.
Right, obviously.
And you just don't achieve that by keeping the house a secret. So by pushing these preview listings out to their massive audience and the Realtor.com audience, the platform gives sellers broad visibility right away.
So sellers can gauge interest, gather real-time feedback on their asking price, and sort of build a pool of eager buyers before the home is even officially active.
Exactly. The seller gets maximum exposure, the buyer gets to see inventory early, and the platform gets a highly engaged user base that's constantly checking for what drops next.
Okay, so they've captured the user renting their first apartment. They've teased them with a pre-market movie trailer of a house when they decide to buy. But actually navigating the transaction of buying a house is, like, A famously disjointed nightmare.
Oh, it's terrible.
Think about the last time you hunted for a place. You probably had 15 browser tabs open. You're texting links to your partner. You're trying to figure out what a mortgage rate even means. And half the time, you're getting ghosted by agents.
It is notoriously full of friction. You're constantly jumping between disconnected systems.
Right. Enter the tech upgrade. This platform is trying to string all these disparate steps together into a seamless end-to-end flywheel. And the centerpiece of this is their new AI mode.
Yeah, AI mode.
Huh.
The transcripts note that AI mode is currently live for just 5% of their audience, but it's already providing what the executives call a huge signal.
A huge signal from just 5%.
Yeah, and that signal is derived from the depth of interaction. Users who interact with AI mode are having deeper, more substantive conversations about what they want compared to users relying on traditional search filters.
See, I'm inherently skeptical of slapping AI onto everything.
I get that.
Like, we've been using drop-down menus for 3 beds, 2 baths, under $500 for 2 decades, and they work perfectly fine. What kind of substantive conversation are people actually having with an AI about a piece of real estate that a drop-down menu can't fix?
Okay, so a drop-down menu handles raw data really well, but it completely fails at capturing human nuance.
Of nuance.
Yeah, think about how you actually describe
Yeah.
your ideal home to a friend. You don't just list specs. You say, I need a house with a fenced yard because I have 2 big dogs. It needs to be on a quiet street, but within a 20-minute drive of downtown. And the kitchen needs really good morning light.
That's true. You can't put good morning light or big dogs into a standard search filter.
Exactly. When a consumer uses the AI to parse those specific unstructured desires, they are unearthing incremental needs. The AI can actually sift through property descriptions and images to find that morning light.
Wow.
More importantly, when a consumer spends time detailing their life like that, they're revealing themselves to be a high-intent buyer. The AI essentially acts as a highly sophisticated triage system.
So the platform isn't just a search engine throwing links at you anymore.
No, not at all.
They are trying to keep you inside their walls for the entire funnel, like triaging homes, getting financing, taking virtual tours, messaging agents, making the offer, and closing.
And that end-to-end philosophy extends to the professional side of the transaction as well.
Right, for the agents.
Yeah, the transcripts heavily feature a CRM customer relationship management software called Follow Up Boss.
This is for the top real estate teams to manage their clients, right?
Exactly. Follow Up Boss basically serves as the operating system for the agent. The reason the platform is investing millions here is so that when you finally click Contact Agent, that agent isn't starting from scratch.
Oh, because they already have the AI chat logs?
Yes. The CRM tracks the rich data from your AI conversations, your search habits, your pre-approvals. The agent already knows you need a fenced yard for 2 dogs.
So they skip the small talk.
Exactly. They skip the small talk and become incredibly responsive, which drastically increases the chances of closing a deal.
But I mean, building this massive AI-driven end-to-end ecosystem with advanced CRMs and pre-market syndication is not cheap.
No, it's extremely expensive.
Which brings us to the financial engine of this entire operation. If the Mackler housing market is a frozen lake, how on earth are they paying for all this back-end innovation?
That is the big question.
Especially because the transcripts mention that their market-based pricing, like the money they make selling leads to agents, is lagging. Real estate agents are feeling poor right now, so they're hesitant to buy expensive leads. The company has to find major profit margins elsewhere.
And the secret weapon hiding in their financials is the high margin potential of their mortgage business.
Mortgages.
Yeah. They are executing a massive pivot.
Yeah.
Currently, they know they are the 24th or 25th largest purchase mortgage originator in the country.
Hold on, the 25th largest.
Yeah.
The mortgage industry is completely commoditized and absolutely brutal. Everybody is fighting over the exact same 0.25% interest rate. How do they plan to vault over 24 established legacy banks to become the #1 purchase mortgage originator in the country? Are they just assuming users will click their mortgage button out of sheer convenience?
Well, convenience is definitely part of it, but the real lever here is a structural advantage in customer acquisition cost.
Ah. Let's unpack the mechanics of that, because customer acquisition cost is everything in business.
It really is. Think about a traditional mortgage lender. They're basically standing outside a giant grocery store with a megaphone, yelling at everyone, trying to guess who might be looking to buy a house.
Just blind shouting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They spend a fortune on Google AdWords, TV spots, direct mail, just to find one lead.
Yeah, buying the search term mortgage rates is notoriously one of the most expensive things you can do on the internet.
Exactly. Now compare that to this real estate platform. They're sitting in the shopping cart with you. They captured your attention years ago when you were renting. They kept you engaged with exclusive pre-market preview listings. They learned exactly what neighborhood you want and your budget through the AI search.
Right. So by the time I actually need a loan, their marketing cost to acquire me is effectively zero.
Bingo. Because they've already acquired the customer at the top of the funnel during the search process, acquiring them for the mortgage at the bottom of the funnel is vastly cheaper.
That builds an incredible margin advantage over traditional banks.
It does. Furthermore, they note in the update that mortgage origination is actually purpose-built for AI applications.
Meaning they can automate all that grueling back-end paperwork.
Right. And we are actually seeing the efficiency gains in the numbers provided. The transcripts point out that their loan officer productivity improved by 11% last year.
11%.
Yeah, and they achieved that productivity boost even while growing their total loan officer headcount by 40%.
Oh, so they are scaling the team massively while simultaneously making each individual person faster through tech?
Exactly. They do, however, have to navigate some significant near-term costs to build out this infrastructure.
Right. The transcripts are very transparent about the financial hurdles. Their fixed costs are reportedly well controlled. Variable costs were an issue, though. They created a 400 basis point headwind in the first half of the year.
Yeah, but the chief financial officer expects that investment pace to slow down and become completely neutral by the end of the year.
Okay. And there was also a $16 million increase in advertising spend in the second quarter, right?
Yes, there was.
They clarify that the $16 million was specifically earmarked for planned product launches, likely pushing features like the AI mode and Zillow preview we talked about.
Right, and that ad spend is projected to normalize to typical seasonal patterns in the back half of the year.
There is one other major cost headwind mentioned in the transcript, though, a $20 million year-over-year increase in legal costs.
Yeah, that's a big one.
This is tied to an accelerated timeline for an FTC trial. Now, looking purely at the financial impact of the numbers provided, this legal cost is expected to lessen in the second half of the year as the trial concludes.
Right, and the executives make a really compelling point about this.
What's that?
If you strip out that temporary $20 million legal expense to see how the core business is actually running, their operating profit, specifically their adjusted EBIT, would be sitting comfortably between $170 and $185 million.
Which is entirely in line with their margins from last year.
Exactly. It proves that the underlying business model remains incredibly resilient, despite a frozen housing market and these temporary spikes in legal and advertising expenditures.
Honestly, we've covered a ton of ground from these transcripts today. Let's zoom out and summarize the master plan.
Let's do it.
This company is not just sitting on their hands, waiting for the Federal Reserve to magically drop interest rates to unfreeze the housing market. They are actively executing a multi-stage playbook.
Yeah, and it starts right at the top of the funnel. They capture the massive growing renter audience, building brand loyalty and generating major revenue by upselling advertising packages to property managers who desperately need those high-quality leads.
And knowing that 65% of those renters eventually want to buy, they hook them early with pre-market homes through the preview product. They use broad public visibility to guarantee sellers the highest price rather than hiding them in pocket listings.
Right. Then they use AI mode to upgrade the entire search experience, turning casual browsers into hyper-qualified, high-intent buyers simply by understanding their nuanced needs.
Like the morning light.
Like the morning light, all while outfitting the actual real estate agents with the Follow Up Boss software to manage those leads flawlessly.
And finally, they funnel all of that captured, highly qualified attention straight into their own high-margin mortgage business. That drastically undercuts the customer acquisition costs that usually cripple traditional banks.
It is a fully self-contained, end-to-end real estate machine.
It really is a masterclass in building an ecosystem.
It is. But as we step back from the financial metrics, this whole thing raises a much larger question. Something for you to mull over long after this deep dive ends.
Oh, let's hear it.
Well, if one single platform successfully aggregates the vast majority of multifamily rentals, the single-family rentals, the pre-market homes, your highly specific AI search history, your messaging with agents, and ultimately originates your mortgage.
Yeah.
At what point does a real estate platform stop merely reflecting the market and actually start dictating it?
Oh, wow.
Think about the sheer scale of that centralized data. They know exactly what features consumers are searching for, like that morning light or fenced yards before home builders even break ground.
That's true.
They know what obscure neighborhoods are seeing spikes in rental searches way before local city governments do. So consider how that unprecedented level of predictive power might actually influence what kinds of homes get built and where they get built in the decades to come.
I mean, they wouldn't just be the marketplace anymore. They would be the architect of the market itself.
Pres-
That brings us right back to where we started. To the casual observer on the shore, the lake looks completely frozen. Nobody is buying shovels, nobody's digging.
It looks dead.
But beneath the ice, these massive data and technology currents are carving out an entirely new landscape for the future of how we live.
And if you aren't paying attention to the currents underneath, you're going to slip on the ice.
Well said. That's all the time we have for today's deep dive. Keep questioning the surface level, and we'll see you next time.